Alright everybody, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to show you guys how to install a steering wheel on if you have a 2018 plus Mustang GT, or well, it goes for the EcoBoost as well, and possibly the GT500. I'm pretty sure it's the exact same as well. So I bought a forged carbon fiber steering wheel from Carbon Maniacs. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys soon and everything that I got optioned on it, and I'm going to give you guys a rundown of what you'll need to do the install. Should take you no more than an hour, and I'm gonna show some crucial parts of the install where you need to be careful, like with the air spring, the clock spring of the airbag for the steering wheel, and obviously disconnecting your battery, etc. So this is my steering wheel from Carbon Maniacs. I've had it for a while, but my car was inside the shop, so I never got to put it on. The guys, GoFund, actually wrote me a really nice note with how patient I was with everything and telling me that they can't wait to see it on the car. So it is a forged carbon fiber steering wheel, like I said. It is still wrapped up. I didn't take off the wrap. I'll need to see it when I first got it, but I'm going to show you guys right now. So obviously there's no plastics or anything. Everything will have to be transferred over. I'll show you guys how to do all of that. And this is my forged carbon fiber steering wheel. So I opted to get the forged carbon. Obviously, I opted to do smooth leather for the steering wheel because I didn't like the perforated look. And I did the red stripe up top, red stitching, and then flat bottom, also forged there. And I did forged carbon thumb grips as well. I don't know how you can see that. You can see it better over here. So yeah, this is the wheel I got, and I'll show you guys how to swap over all the factory controls and everything, all the plastic pieces and trims. And I'll go ahead and give you a list of everything that you'll need for the install. I'm gonna go ahead and set this inside my car, put the cover protector back on it just in case I don't scratch it. And just gonna let this sit on the passenger seat for now until it's time for me to take it. Ugh. Just hit my head. Okay, so first things first, obviously you're gonna pop the hood. And the reason you're gonna be popping the hood is because you are going to need to disconnect the battery. And if you guys have a 2018 Mustang, I really do recommend going to purchase the air struts conversion, so that way you don't have to use this thing. I needed to get some for mine. So the battery is going to be over here on your passenger side underneath this cover. You're going to need a plastic clip tool just to go ahead and pop these off so you can slide it out of the way. And I'll go ahead and show you my tool arsenal while also giving you guys a list of everything that you're going to need. So this is everything you're going to need. You're going to need a pick of something or something similar to where you can pick up on the little tabs for the connectors for the wires on the airbag. You're going to need a 4mm Allen key or something similar in size, like anything that can be put inside of a hole, like that's just as big as this. So it could be a flat head that's super skinny or anything like that. I use this because it works probably the best. You're going to need a 1/4-inch ratchet, and I use an extension just, give me a little bit more room. And you'll need a T20 for all the little plastic pieces around the steering wheel button controls to take all the little screws out so you can swap it over to the new steering wheel. You will need either an impact for 3/8, 1/4-inch, or just a ratchet of 3/8, 1/4-inch with a 10mm, so that way you can disconnect the battery. You'll disconnect the negative terminal, and you'll need a clip tool of some sort to remove clips, little tabs inside on the steering wheel, and pry up on little plastic pieces that are there. And you'll need either a 1/2-inch impact or a 1/2-inch ratchet with a 24mm socket to take off the center bolt for the steering wheel. Now, you do not need this many fancy tools like I have. You can use your regular hand tools if you want to. I just using it because I have it to my advantage. These are my tools from when I was a technician, so it is going to be a little bit easier for me than it will be for you if you're using hand tools. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is you're going to want to remove these clips here on this little plastic trim cover where the battery is. Just going to pretty much pop up on them. So let me get this one to just come out. Yep, there we go. So I normally just set them up here in the top of the cowl just to make sure they don't go anywhere. Just gonna try this out. There we go. Be careful not to drop any of them inside of your fender well. And then I'm going to go ahead and put this inside of the car now because I will be using it later. I did put the rest of my tools already in there. And your second step is going to be go ahead and move the cover and disconnect the battery. So you're going to use your 10mm with your ratchet or your impact. So you're going to move this up and out of the way. Mine is zip tied right there because I have an audio cable there. Hopefully that doesn't rip. So mine is painted red because that is a protective coating that they put on at the dealership. You do not need to put that. So make sure that you're not disconnecting the positive. You don't need to do that. Just disconnect the negative. So what you're gonna do, you're gonna see this 10 millimeter here. You're just gonna loosen this, wiggle the cable, pull it out, up and over, out of the way. That way there's no power to the inside of the car. The airbag won't just deploy in your face or anything. So you just wiggle it, out it comes, and that's pretty much it. So now you go ahead and go inside of the car. So once you're inside the car, there's gonna be 2 holes in the steering wheel. There's gonna be one here on this side right here, and then one identical on this side right here. That little 4 millimeter Allen key or something equivalent that you have in size, you're gonna be using it to put it inside the hole. And you're gonna feel a little bit of tension when you hit the little spring. So look, you can see the airbag starting to move a little. Once you feel that tension, you're gonna push on it and then pull the airbag out at the same time. So it's kind of hard to do with one hand. Once I pop this side out, once you pop one side out, you're gonna want to do the similar thing on the outside. You kind of want to put it in kind of at an angle. You'll feel the tension a little, and you should be able to pop it out. Some springs are a little bit different than the other. All right, so I found to use this actually worked better. It's easier if you do the left side first, then you do the right side. So I found this to be a little bit easier, a little bit thinner, gives you a little bit more playroom because it's kind of at an angle. It goes in straight, but you kind of have to tilt it just a little to get that spring when you feel the tension. So once you do that, the airbag should just pop right out, as you can see. So what you're gonna want to do now is just you're gonna pull it outwards like this. You're gonna want to disconnect this one, and then you're gonna want to disconnect these 2 here, this one and this one, so that the airbag can just come loose. What you're gonna do, you're gonna use your pick that you have, and you're gonna pry up on these little orange connectors, so that way you can release them. And then this one, there should be a little tab right here on the bottom right there. You just pull up on it and then it slides right out. So what you want to do, you just want to pretty much pry up on the sides of this. If I could just get this to go through. So there's one, and then here's number 2. So once you get those pried up, you should pretty much just be able to wiggle those off, and then you can set the airbag aside. So I have the airbag disconnected now. I can just completely set it aside. Don't worry, you can't forget where these cables go. They are color coded: yellow to yellow, black to black, and then the other one just goes in. This one right here, we'll just plug into right here. So I'm just gonna go to set this over here on the side, passenger seat. And then, so now, what you wanna do, you're gonna disconnect this. This is the clock spring. You wanna be really careful when you're gonna disconnect this bolt. When you take out this bolt, you wanna disconnect this one down here, and that should pretty much be it. And you should move these out of the way, and your steering wheel will be ready to come out. So, when you take this out, be careful not to make this back here spin that much. This is your clock spring. You spin it too far, it'll cause the airbag light to be on because you'll break the clock spring. So whenever you take the steering wheel off, try to keep this as straight as possible. Everything is connected. This wire down here at the bottom is going to come with the steering wheel when it comes out. These wires up here at the top are going to feed through this hole to keep them out of the way. So you just pull the steering wheel straight off once you disconnect this. So now you're going to use your impact that you have with the 24mm socket to break this loose. Oh, I have already broken it loose. I can just take it out with my finger now. Let's go ahead and set this in my cup holder. It does have a little bit of grease on it, so just careful when you set it down. All right, so now the steering wheel should be able to just slide straight off. Be careful, like I said, do not allow this piece back here behind the steering wheel to move and spin that much. As you can see, this is what I mean. Do not allow this to spin very far, or else it will cause the airbag light to be on. Just try to keep it as straight as possible. and don't touch it. So now the steering wheel's off, what you're gonna need is your 1/4-inch ratchet with your T20, and you're basically gonna be disassembling all the button switches to swap over to the new steering wheel. So you have this one here, you have this one. You're gonna take off this lower trim as well because the new steering wheel doesn't have a lower trim. You're gonna take this one off as well and this one off as well. Once you get each piece off, I haven't got all of them off yet, but each individual one's gonna have a connector that you're gonna need to disconnect. Just remember how the wire is gonna be ran in the end process and the order you took them off. And you're gonna start from this side going on back and forth because these silver piece trims stack on top of the bottom lower piece control buttons. Once you have everything, all the buttons out, you should be able to just push up on the pieces here for the plastic. They're right here, and it'll just slide off the back of the wheel, so you can take this black plastic piece off because it has to be transferred to the new wheel. So there are a few more options on the steering wheel. So my factory steering wheel has heated steering wheel, but when I got mine, I didn't opt to get the new steering wheel with heated steering. So there's, when you take out the plastic at the bottom, there's these 2 wires here behind the leather, factory leather, that will not be reused. So you won't be reusing this connector, it'll just be disconnected. So when putting on this back plastic piece back on, you want to feed all the wires in their designated spots. There's also little 2 tabs on each corner, or well, each side, 2 on the bottom, 2 on the left, 2 on the right. They need to feed into the new steering wheel. So if you look behind the rubber, there's two little holes there. I don't know how you can see that, but they need to be clipped into there. So once you have the back piece on, you're gonna now want to start assembling all the pieces for the buttons, starting from left to right. So when doing so, remember that the black buttons go on first because the silver button pieces, or well, the ones with the silver trim, will stack on top, and the screw right here in the top left is what holds down this underneath the silver. Okay, so now I have everything back plugged in. And like I said, this wire that is down here will not be used because it's for the heated steering wheel. I'm not reusing it because I don't have heated steering wheel on the steering wheel. But this is all put back together, and if you guys completely forgot where the bolts go, so there are some with fatter washer ends around them. They're not actual washers, just bigger heads. So these skinny ones go in the very top, and then these fatter ones go here and here and here and here. There's only 4 in total, and then the rest of them just use these smaller heads. So there's 4 small heads and 4 big heads. And remember, make sure you guys always plug everything back in. I have everything already plugged back in. Both of these buttons are plugged in. This one's plugged in and this one's plugged in. So now, this is it all fit and finished. Looks pretty good. And pretty much now you just repeat the process you did from whenever you took it off. Once you put the steering wheel back on, just make sure you put it as straight as possible. Remember not to move the clock spring. Put the bolt in, tighten it back down. Just give it a few ugga-duggas, just nice and tight, not over tighten it. And then you just go ahead and plug back everything in. So you're gonna want to plug back in this connector right here at the top. Now remember, the one at the bottom is not gonna be used. That's for the heated steering wheel we no longer have. And these 3 wires are gonna be plugged back into the airbag. And then once you guys plug the airbag in, you just push it in, it'll click it back in place, and everything's good to go. Once you hit the airbag in, make sure you push these orange tabs back down. Make sure this wire is plugged back in. So now, when you flip it over, it should be upside down. But you're just gonna spin the airbag like so. And you're just gonna go ahead and push it in. See, there you go. You hear 2 clicks, and it's good to go. Pretty much it's all done. Now you connect the battery, and the install is done.